Well, the U.S. has announced that it's revoking all visas for South Sudanese passport holders and blocking new arrivals effective immediately. The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, says the move is in response to the African nation refusing to accept the return of its repatriated citizens. The Trump administration has taken aggressive measures to crack down on immigration, warning that countries who do not take back their citizens will face consequences. This comes as fears grow of a renewed civil war in South Sudan.
Breaking news. The United States has just revoked all visas held by South Sudanese passport holders, sparking outrage, confusion, and fear across global African communities. In a move that many are calling unprecedented, the Biden-era protections are over. And it's sending shockwaves from Juba to Washington, D.C. to Kingston. Why is this happening now? What does this mean for thousands of people, students, workers, and families? And most importantly, could your country be next? Stay with us as we break it all down. If you're part of the African or Caribbean diaspora or stand for fair immigration policy, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 20,000 strong, and your voice matters here. U.S. cancels all South Sudanese visas. Why? The U.S. government, under Secretary of State Marco Rubio, has revoked every single visa held by South Sudanese nationals. That includes work permits, student visas, and travel documents.
Why?
Washington says South Sudan is refusing to take back its own citizens who've been ordered to leave the U.S. Rubio stated, South Sudan's transitional government has failed to accept repatriated citizens. They are taking advantage of the United States. And until that changes, no new visas will be granted to anyone carrying a South Sudanese passport. This shocking decision comes just as tensions in South Sudan are boiling over again. The fragile peace between President Salva Kiir and Vice President Riek Machar has collapsed. Machar is now under house arrest.
Machar was placed under house arrest late Wednesday night. The longtime rival of South Sudanese President Salva Kiir was detained at his residence in the capital, Juba. In a statement, Machar Sudan People's Liberation Movement in Opposition Party say the defense minister and chief of national security forcefully entered Machar's residence and delivered an arrest warrant.
Fighting has reignited. The UN warns the country is on the brink of another civil war, a repeat of the 2013 to 2018 conflict that killed over 400,000 people. South Sudan is facing a security emergency. We must act before it falls over the abyss. Segment 3. Global impact on Africans and Caribbeans. What makes this decision even more worrying is that South Sudanese nationals were under Temporary Protected Status, TPS, a designation that shields people from deportation due to war or disasters. There are at least 133 South Sudanese under TPS and another 140 eligible. They now face possible removal to a country descending into chaos. But it's not just about South Sudan. This move sends a chilling message to other African and Caribbean nations. Cooperate on repatriations or face mass visa cancellations. Remember Haiti, Jamaica, Nigeria? They've all faced similar pressure in the past. Pause for a second. What if your passport was suddenly invalid? Imagine losing your visa overnight. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this move is justified, or is it discrimination cloaked in policy? Segment 4. The human toll. This policy has real-life consequences. Students may lose scholarships. Workers face deportation. Families could be split. And for those already in the U.S., the fear is palpable. This isn't just about policy. It's about people who left a war-torn homeland hoping for safety. Many are asking, is this about immigration enforcement or political punishment? What Jamaica and the Caribbean should watch for. This crisis is a wake-up call for Caribbean nations too. The U.S. has long pressured countries like Jamaica, Guyana, and Trinidad to accept deportees quickly or face similar visa consequences. If Jamaica resists deportation flights or fails to meet U.S. criteria, it could face visa restrictions that hurt tourism, education, and trade. This is bigger than visas. It's about global power, diplomacy, and who gets to move freely and who doesn't. Is the U.S. making a fair move, or is it punishing a weak nation to make a point? Let's talk in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to see it. We're building a powerful community on the road to 20,000, and your voice matters now more than ever.
Leon Fresco is an immigration lawyer and partner with the Holland & Knight law firm. He's also a former deputy attorney, assistant attorney general in charge of immigration at the United States Department of Justice, joining us from Washington, D.C. Thanks for your time. Though this is the first such measure singling out all passport holders from a particular country since President Donald Trump returned to the White House. What is your reaction to this move?
Well, the reaction is that the administration is using South Sudan in order to send a message to the rest of the world that the countries that don't take people back that the United States is trying to deport are going to suffer severe sanctions. A very similar type of conduct was taken with Colombia earlier in the administration when Colombia didn't want to take flights with people that were trying to be deported to Colombia. But this is even a step further because it's revoking the visas of all South Sudanese currently in the country. And so I think they wanted to intentionally pick a small population set of people in the United States in order to send this message to create a deterrent effect on any other country that will refuse to accept deportees back to their homeland.
So do you expect more to come, more countries to be targeted in this way?
I do. I don't know that all of them will have all of their visas revoked, because if we're talking about a country, let's say like China, where there's millions of people here as students and workers and other things, and we believe that China isn't accepting people we're trying to deport back there, that's really a sanction that in the end can't really be enforced, because you're not going to be able to do anything with millions of people to send them back to China. But for smaller countries like South Sudan, where the population we're talking about is in the hundreds, then there are possibilities that those individuals, if you cancel their visas, can be repatriated, even if it's not to South Sudan, to somewhere else. And so that's where South Sudan has to be concerned, and other smaller countries similarly have to be concerned about the possibility of such sanctions.
To what extent is Trump really trying to appeal to his base here? I mean, this is what he campaigned on, right? He campaigned on an anti-immigration platform.
Well, he's trying to show that these programs that the Biden administration did, and it did a program with South Sudan where it gave them temporary protected status to keep them in the United States, that without exception, no matter how big or small, he's going to cancel all of them, and he's going to try to repatriate those people back to their countries of citizenship. And so the South Sudan program was set to either expire or be reauthorized in early May. And so instead of reauthorizing it, he's saying it's expiring and I want South Sudan to take their folks back. And if they don't, then there's going to be sanctions. And he wants that for every single Biden program that had accepted people or that had protected people. He wants to end them all. And he wants all of these countries to take these folks back.
Okay, Leon Fresco, thank you for speaking to us from Washington, D.C. this hour.
Thank you.